Euphemia is one of the half-sisters to the main character, Lelouch. She is a bright and cheerful girl who also has a high role in the Britannian Empire. I enjoyed her character a lot in the series. She was always looking for the best and most peaceful solution in every scenario. The way she went out in the series was really sad, and as she still felt like we could have seen more to her as she wasn't in the series for that long. Overall, I'd give her a tier. Lloyd is an okay character. I feel like the things that end up getting revealed about him throughout the series don't really make sense for his character. His personality is kind of goofy, which can be charming at times but also somewhat annoying at times. He's okay, so I'll put him around C tier. Nunnally is Lelouch's full sister, both born from the same mother and father. Nunnally is the reason that Lelouch is doing what he's doing. I enjoyed her character, but I wish she was shown a bit more in the first half of the series. Luckily, she played a much bigger role in the second half of the series. She takes accountability for her actions and she knows when things are necessary. I still wish she was around a bit more, so I'll place her in B tier. Surly is one of students at Ashford Academy. She is also one of the main love interests for Lelouch throughout the series. Her character is okay to me, but she feels like the main reason she exists is to just be a love interest for Lelouch. There are times where she is given her own character development that actually plays a part in the story, but when it's just surrounding her, it feels like she's more of a plot device than her own character. I wish she had a little bit more separate from being in love with Lelouch. Still, I enjoyed her character, so I'll place her around B tier. Deedard is the sort of spokesman for Zero. He's arrogant and really only in it for the fame that comes with it. He plays his part fairly well, but there are times where his actions don't really make sense for him. He can be a bit much at times as well. There's not much to say about him, so I'll keep him around C tier. Nina is another student at Ashford Academy. She is kind of a weird character in the first half of the series. It feels like they wanted to do some more things with her early on but didn't really know how to accomplish them. She's a decent character in the second half of the series, and I wish she was like that more in the first half. She helps create weapons and advantages for Lelouch to some degree. She's not all that special in my eyes though, but she is an okay character later on, so I feel like C tier is okay for her. Valletta is one of the nightmare users for Britannia. She also ends up being a love interest for one of the Black Knights, which makes for some interesting dynamics. I do wish she had more to do or was more involved in the series. It feels like she shows up only when it's necessary but isn't given enough development to lead up to the moments when she actually shows up in the series. If she was given more in the series, I'd place her higher, but I think B tier is where she belongs. Charles is the father of Lelouch and the main protagonist in the series. He is the leader of the Britannian Empire, which Lelouch fights against throughout the series. I'm not a big fan of his character. I feel like they don't explain his reasoning a lot of the time for the actions he takes, and when it is explained it doesn't really make sense to me. He really just seems like a generic bad guy who's just power hungry. They try to give him some sort of plan near the end, but it feels really forced to me. Probably my least favorite character in the series, so I'll place him in E tier. Callan is another sort of love interest for Lelouch. She's one of the most skilled nightmare users in the series and helps Lelouch a lot throughout the series. I really enjoyed her character. She gets emotional when it makes sense and uses her head when it's necessary. She is the most realistic character in the series in my opinion. She is willing to question orders when she feels they might not make sense and is able to follow orders when they do make sense. Probably my favorite female character in the series, so I'll give her A tier. Cornelia is one of the main commanders for Britannia. She is very cunning and ruthless, even corning Lelouch early on in the series. She's probably one of the most unlucky characters at times, as she has very successful plans but they end up getting screwed over due to plot conveniences. She does have love for her sister, Yuffie, which gives her some empathy. Overall, I really like her as a villain, as she makes a lot of evil choices but almost in a way that shows how blind she is to what she's doing. I rank her around A tier. Skneasel is another half-sibling of Lelouch and one of his main rivals throughout the series. He is Lelouch's half-brother and is known to be as Lelouch's equal throughout the show. He is very cunning and ruthless, almost even more so than Cornelia is. He out-tweets and out-prepares Lelouch on multiple occasions. Way more of an interesting villain than Charles is, so I'll put him in A tier. Suzaku is Lelouch's best friend and another opponent he takes on during the series. Suzaku, unlike the other rivals, isn't as smart, but makes up for it in physical and athletic skill. There is a moral story between him and Lelouch believing that evil is needed to destroy the greater evil, and Suzaku believing that the ends don't always justify the means. It's a great moral conflict these two have in the series. I do think some of Suzaku's decisions can be illogical and annoying at times, but overall he's a good character, so I'll place him in A tier. C2. C2 is Lelouch's main companion throughout the series. She is the one who gives him his power and guides and assists him in his quest. She is also seen as a sort of love interest to Lelouch, which in my opinion is sort of a turn off to me as she doesn't really feel like the love interest type for Lelouch. I like the companionship they share together as well as her own characteristics. She's very witty in her conversations with Lelouch. I wish they didn't sexualize her so much as she's not really a character that makes sense to be flaunted. But other than that, I enjoyed her character, so I'll place her around A tier. Lelouch. Now we've come to the final and main character of the series, Lelouch. Lelouch is such a great and compelling character. Each encounter gives him an opportunity to reflect and question his position. People constantly either attempting to break him down or encourage what he's fighting for, and no matter what, Lelouch sticks it out to the very end through all the suffering and hardships and sacrifices he had to make. He realizes all the good and bad he can do and has done and makes the best decisions to what he believes in. One of the best anime characters and fictional characters in media. He gets S tier for me. And those are most of the main characters in Code Geass ranked. Do you agree with my rankings or do you think there should be some changes made? Let me know in the comments.